Have you ever wondered why some people in their 70s or 80s still take peaceful morning walks, sharp minds, steady steps, while you, barely into your 60s, already feel your knees giving out, your memory fading, and sleep slipping away? I once cared for a patient like that. Her name was Helen. She was 68 years old, a retired elementary school teacher. She came into my clinic with recurring dizziness, trembling legs, unsteady steps, and the part that hurt her most wasn't the knee pain, it was forgetting the names of her former students. That, she said, was more painful than any ache in my joints. I ran tests. No signs of a serious illness, but when I asked her in detail about her diet, the answer became clear, not from a fancy diagnosis, but from the very plate of vegetables she had faithfully eaten every day for the last 15 years. Yes, you heard that right, not all vegetables are healthy food. Some are medicine for aging legs, the brain, and the heart, others. They quietly stir up inflammation, slow your circulation, weaken your nerves, make you forgetful. Even raise your risk of silent strokes, without you ever realizing it. Pushpin, and the most dangerous part, these are everyday vegetables, the ones sitting in your fridge right now, the ones you eat with pride, thinking, I'm living healthy. Movie camera. So in this video, as a doctor who has spent over 30 years studying senior health, I want to show you, white heavy checkmark 4 vegetables you should eat daily, if you want stronger muscles, better memory, and steady, confident steps after 60, stop sign, and 4 vegetables that look healthy but may quietly sabotage your legs, your blood flow, and even your independence. Sparkles. This isn't just a video about food, it's about freedom in old age. It's about how you can live well, live strong, and live on your own terms, until your very last days. Light bulbs. Stick with me to the end, because in the final section, I'll reveal the most dangerous sweet vegetable in America, one that's likely already in your fridge right now. Backhand index pointing down. Let's begin with the first vegetable, a green giant that protects your legs, sharpens your mind, and quietly adds years to your life. You know its name, but I promise, you've never truly known how to use it right. Vegetable to eat. Number 1, broccoli, the green shield of healthy aging. I'll never forget George. He was 73 years old, a retired structural engineer from Texas. When he first came to my clinic, he looked at me and said, "Doc, I'm not afraid of getting old. I'm afraid of not being able to walk out into my garden each morning and smell the daisies." At the time, his legs were weakening, his gait was wobbly, his memory fading, but we didn't prescribe a pill. Instead, we changed his plate, 1 bowl of steamed broccoli a day. That's what I asked him to start with. 6 months later, I received a letter from his wife. "Doctor, George can walk up the stairs again. He even remembered our anniversary." That's the power of broccoli, not just a vegetable, a green shield that protects the aging body from within. Microscope. What makes broccoli so special? Broccoli, also known as green cauliflower, is one of the richest sources of a compound called sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is a powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compound. It helps to clear out microblood vessels in your legs and brain, reduce chronic inflammation in muscles and joints, activate detoxifying enzymes in your liver, protect brain cells from oxidative damage. Books. According to a study from Johns Hopkins University, Zhang et al., Cancer Epidemiology Biomarkers Prevention, 2006, sulforaphane activates over 200 genes related to detoxification and antioxidant defense, essentially slowing the body's aging process at a cellular level. After 60, one of the most silent enemies is microvascular inflammation in the brain. It blocks oxygen from reaching the memory and decision-making centers, but sulforaphane helps by increasing cerebral blood flow, delaying the onset of mild cognitive impairment, MCI, shielding neurons from oxidative stress. Open Book. A study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience, 2020, found that seniors who ate broccoli at least 3 times per week had a 33% lower risk of developing MCI. Flexed biceps strengthens the legs, the foundation of independence. The brain isn't the only organ that benefits. Broccoli also enhances peripheral circulation, critical for nourishing your calves and feet, provides vitamin K, calcium, and manganese, essential for bone density and joint flexibility, helps reduce the risk of falls and hip fractures, a leading cause of mortality in seniors. Pushpin. According to Harvard Health Publishing, 2021, seniors who consume high amounts of vitamin K are 25% less likely to suffer a hip fracture. I always remind my patients, don't boil it to death. Boiling destroys sulforaphane. The best ways are, lightly steam for 3 to 4 minutes, quick sauté with olive oil. Pair it with black pepper or mustard to boost absorption. Green heart more than a vegetable. A symbol of freedom. One bowl of broccoli won't perform miracles overnight, but if you ask me, as a doctor who's seen hundreds of quiet declines and miraculous recoveries, I'll tell you this: every broccoli floret is like a piece of armor. Every broccoli bowl is a step toward autonomy, strength, and peace in your golden years. Backhand index pointing down. And now, let's move to the next green powerhouse, a leafy friend that opens your blood vessels, clears your thoughts, and strengthens every step you take. Backhand index pointing right. Coming up, spinach, your green fuel for brain and muscle. Vegetable to eat. Number 2, spinach, the green fuel for your brain and muscles. I'll always remember Martha. She was 75 when she first came to see me, looking a little down. Doc, I read the paper, but I can't remember what I just read. It feels like my mind is fading. We ruled out anything serious, no dementia, no stroke, but when I asked her about her diet, one thing stood out: she rarely ate dark leafy greens, so I gave her one simple prescription, not a pill, not a supplement, just this: every day, have a small bowl of spinach, boiled gently, or blended in a smoothie with banana. That's it. 3 months later, Martha returned, with a smile that lit up the room. Doctor, I remembered the name of my 4th grandchild, and I even baked him a birthday cake all by myself. Spinach is rich in natural nitrates, help blood vessels stay flexible, folate and lutein protect memory and cognition, iron and magnesium vital for muscle function and nerve signaling. DNA nitrates in spinach convert to nitric oxide, which helps dilate blood vessels and increase blood flow, especially to the brain and the legs, where circulation often slows down with age. Open Book. A landmark study from Rush University Medical Center in Chicago, Morris et al., Neurology, 2015, followed 954 seniors for 5 years. Results: those who ate 1 to 2 servings of leafy greens daily slowed cognitive decline by up to 11 years. Even more impressive, lutein, found in spinach, accumulates in the frontal cortex, the part of the brain tied to memory and decision-making. Man, walking spinach helps you move better. Many older adults think their fatigue or weakness is just getting old. But often, it's about poor circulation to leg muscles, weakened peripheral nerves, iron and magnesium deficiency. Spinach tackles all 3. Iron helps create red blood cells that carry oxygen to tissues, magnesium stabilizes nerve and muscle function, nitrate boosts circulation, warming cold feet, easing cramps, reducing shakiness. Pushpin. According to the Journal of Nutrition, 2016, seniors who regularly consumed nitrate-rich greens had better endurance, lower blood pressure, and a 25% lower risk of losing mobility. Spinach is one of the best sources of lutein and zeaxanthin, the twin protectors of aging eyes. These antioxidants prevent macular degeneration, enhance contrast and color vision, keep your eyesight sharper, longer. Books. A study in Archives of Ophthalmology, 2007, showed people with high lutein levels were 43% less likely to develop advanced macular degeneration. Fork and knife with plate. Best way to eat spinach: lightly sauté with garlic and olive oil, blend in a smoothie with banana, berries, almond butter. Avoid overboiling. This destroys folate and lutein. Raw or lightly cooked is best for preserving nutrients. You may forget yesterday's lunch, but your body remembers every nutrient you give it. Every day you eat spinach, you're boosting blood flow to your brain, restoring muscle strength in your legs, slowing down the silent aging inside your cells. Memory is a lantern, and spinach is the oil that keeps it lit. Backhand index pointing down coming up next, a bright orange vegetable that sharpens your vision, steadies your step, and helps you stay on your feet, both literally and in life. Backhand index pointing right. Let's talk about carrots, the glow in every step of graceful aging. Vegetable to eat. Number 3, carrot, the light in every step of aging gracefully. Years ago, I had a patient named David, a retired Navy mechanic, 78 years old. His eyes once sharp enough to read engine diagrams, his hands steady enough to fix anything, but when he came into my clinic, he said, "Document. I can't read the instruction manual for my drill anymore, and lately, it feels like my legs just don't listen to me." We ran tests. Nothing conclusive. Then I looked at his food journal, and realized, for over 3 years, he hadn't eaten a single orange vegetable, so I gave him a challenge. "David, let's try something small. Every day, just eat 1 carrot, raw or gently steamed." That's it. 3 months later, he walked into my office smiling, his hands were steady again. His eyes clear. "Doc, I fixed my lawn mower, and I'm reading the morning paper again, without the magnifier." Carrots, nature's gift for eyes and brain. Carrots are rich in beta-carotene, a form of vitamin A, essential for vision and eye health. Vitamin K1, potassium, support blood flow and nerve function. Luteolin, a powerful antioxidant that protects brain cells. Open Book, a long-term study of over 100,000 seniors, published in Archives of Ophthalmology, 2007, showed seniors who consumed high levels of beta-carotene, especially from carrots and squash, had up to a 40% lower risk of macular degeneration, the leading cause of blindness in older adults. But the benefits don't stop at the eyes. Vitamin A also supports mucosal lining in the lungs and sinuses, enhances immune defense, reduces chronic inflammation in airways and skin. Leg, carrots and nerve health, the bridge between brain and balance. After 60, many people struggle with poor balance when walking, legs feeling unsteady, slower reaction time, higher risk of falls. Often, it's not the joints. It's nerve signaling from the brain to the legs. Carrots help support that connection. Thanks to potassium stabilizes nerve impulses. Luteolin, flavonoids reduce inflammation in tiny blood vessels. Beta-carotene preserves nerve health. Pushpin research from the University of Illinois, Nutrition Neuroscience, 2012, found luteolin, found in carrots and celery, reduces neuroinflammation, a key contributor to mobility issues in aging adults. Beating heart, sweet, but not harmful. Carrots are naturally sweet, but don't be fooled, their glycemic index is low, 39, making them safe for prediabetics, friendly for heart health, satisfying for those watching their weight. The soluble fiber in carrots also helps lower LDL cholesterol, stabilize post-meal blood sugar, keep you full longer, preventing unhealthy snacking. Fork and knife with plate. Best ways to enjoy carrots: eat raw as a crunchy snack, steam lightly to preserve nutrients, pair with healthy fats like olive oil, almond butter, or boiled eggs. This boosts absorption of vitamin A up to 4 times. Crossmark, avoid juicing without pulp. It removes valuable fiber. I often tell my older patients, you don't have to climb mountains to beat aging. You just need to walk strong, every single day. And a humble carrot, believe it or not, fuels that strength, because clear vision helps you see where you're going, steady nerves keep you from falling, a sharp brain helps you remember the way home. Carrots won't show you the future, but they'll help you walk into it with confidence. Backhand index pointing down. Up next, we reveal one of the most powerful vegetables for aging brains and blood vessels, once called nature's golden medicine in ancient times. Backhand index pointing right. Let's talk about kale, the neural and vascular warrior in your backyard. Leafy green. Good vegetable. Number 4, kale, the shield that guards your nerves and blood vessels after 60. I once had a patient named Eleanor. She was 74 years old, an artist who loved to paint portraits and tend her little garden. She came to see me one afternoon, gently setting her trembling hands on the edge of my desk. "Doctor," she said, "I keep getting these dull headaches. I feel like I'm running on empty. And every time I try to paint, my hand won't stay steady." Her blood pressure was fine. Her heart sounded strong. But when we looked deeper, specifically at her nutrient levels, we found that she was low in vitamin K1, lutein, and magnesium. These three are like the holy trinity of healthy aging. And they're all packed into one overlooked leafy green, kale. I gave her a simple suggestion: try eating lightly steamed kale with a boiled egg every morning. 6 weeks later, she called my office beaming. "Doctor," she said, "I just finished my first full portrait in 8 months. And I held my granddaughter's hand this morning, without a single tremble." Brain kale, not just a vegetable. A neurological shield, kale is the king of dark leafy greens. Just 1 cup is rich in vitamin K1, regulates blood clotting, protects vessel walls, and reduces arterial calcification. Lutein, zeaxanthin, potent antioxidants that protect vision and brain health. Flavonoids like camphorol reduce brain inflammation. Calcium, magnesium, plant-based omega-3s, support nerve function and muscle control. Pushpin, according to the USDA, 100 grams of kale contains 4x more vitamin C than spinach, 10x more lutein than romaine lettuce. Brain. A study published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease, 2017, found adults who consumed dark leafy greens like kale at least once a day experienced a brain aging rate 11 years slower than those who ate fewer greens. That means if you're 70 but eat like someone in their 40s, your brain may just thank you by feeling a decade younger. Drop of blood. Kale and the tiny blood vessels that matter most. After age 60, the smallest vessels in your body, called microvasculature, begin to weaken. These are the vessels that bring blood to the brain. Brain issues with focus and dizziness, the retina, eye blurry vision, the feet-foot numbness and poor balance. Vitamin K1 in kale helps prevent arterial stiffening, maintain vessel elasticity, strengthen the walls of delicate capillaries. Open book. A study in atherosclerosis, 2015, showed older adults with higher vitamin K levels had a 36% lower risk of developing vascular calcification. Kale is one of nature's richest sources of lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 pigments that concentrate in your retina. They help defend against age-related macular degeneration, AMD, improve contrast and clarity in dim lighting, preserve fine detail vision longer. Books. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2013, found people who ate kale, spinach, or broccoli regularly had up to 26% better low-light reading ability. Flex biceps. Kale also strengthens legs, joints, and your walk. This leafy giant isn't just good for your brain and eyes. It also supports mobility. Calcium, magnesium in kale help maintain stable muscle contractions and joint flexibility. It's rich in alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant-based omega-3, which fights joint inflammation, reduces knee pain, improves stride flexibility. Fork and knife with plate. How to eat kale right. Here's what I recommend to my patients. White heavy checkmark. Lightly steam or sauté kale with olive oil and garlic. White heavy checkmark. Toss it into smoothies with banana and peanut butter if you're not a fan of its strong flavor. Cross mark. Avoid overcooking or deep frying. It kills most of its nutrients. Green heart kale, a quiet protector for the aging body. Here's the truth: aging doesn't take everything from you, but it takes faster what you don't nourish, and kale, though not the easiest green to love, is one of the strongest shields you can give yourself, to keep your brain sharp, your legs steady, and your eyes bright enough to see your grandkids smile. Kale doesn't change how old you are, but it changes how well you live the years that come. Backhand index pointing down. And now that you know the 4 powerful vegetables to eat daily after 60, ! It's time to ask the harder question: which vegetables should you avoid, even if they look healthy on the surface? let's explore the 4 vegetables that may be secretly harming your brain, your legs, and your independence. Vegetable to avoid. Number 1, eggplant, the silent striker of your knees and nerves. Have you ever eaten eggplant regularly and found yourself wondering why your legs feel weak? Why your joints ache? Why your balance feels just a little off? If so, you're not alone, and you might want to pause and look at what's really happening. I had a patient named Nancy, 70 years old, a longtime vegetarian who lived mindfully and cautiously. She came into my office one day complaining of persistent knee pain, tingling in her feet, like they were losing strength, forgetfulness and mood swings. I asked her to walk me through her daily meals. With a gentle smile, she said, "I love eggplant, Doctor. Especially grilled or pan-seared with olive oil. I eat it almost every day." I listened. Then I leaned in and explained, eggplant belongs to a plant family that can be healthy for some, but inflammatory for others, especially as we age. Let's take a break from it for a few weeks and observe. 3 weeks later, she called me back in disbelief. "Doctor, my knees feel lighter. I'm walking steadier. And I slept through the night for the first time in months." Eggplant is part of the nightshade family, which includes bell peppers, tomatoes, and white potatoes. While not dangerous for everyone, eggplant contains solanine, a natural plant compound that can trigger issues in some older adults. Solanine acts as a plant self-defense against pests, but in human bodies, it can overstimulate the immune system, trigger inflammation in joint tissues, interfere with nerve signaling. Books. The Journal of Inflammation Research, 2010, published findings showing, in people with existing joint inflammation, solanine may increase levels of pro-inflammatory markers like TNF-alpha and IL-1 beta, leading to worsened symptoms. That's why some older adults feel more joint pain, stiffness, or leg weakness after meals rich in eggplant, without even realizing the cause. Leg solanine and nerve weakness, a hidden link. Solanine can disrupt acetylcholine, a key neurotransmitter that helps your brain send signals to your muscles. This disruption can cause slowed reflexes in knees and ankles, numbness or dead foot sensation, reduced balance, higher risk of falls. Pushpin Toxicology Letters, 2012, reported that solanine interferes with acetylcholinesterase, the enzyme that regulates nerve communication, particularly between the brain and lower limbs. In sensitive individuals, solanine may also cause vivid or disturbing dreams, lead to brain fog, that foggy, disconnected feeling, disrupt deep sleep or trigger restlessness. This is especially true for adults over 60, whose blood-brain barrier weakens with age, making them more vulnerable to low-grade neuroinflammation. Warning: who should be cautious about eggplant. You may want to avoid or limit eggplant if you suffer from arthritis or chronic joint pain, have a history of peripheral neuropathy, struggle with balance or leg weakness, experience memory lapses or mood swings. ! Do I have to eliminate eggplant completely? Not necessarily. If you're under 60, have no nerve issues, and tolerate nightshades well, occasional eggplant is likely fine. But if you've been experiencing unexplained pain, fatigue, or balance problems, try this. Remove eggplant from your diet for 3 to 4 weeks, monitor your symptoms. Do you feel stronger, steadier, or more rested? If symptoms return upon reintroducing it, your body may be signaling it's time to move on. Important: never eat raw eggplant, and always cook it thoroughly. However, even high heat doesn't eliminate solanine for those who are sensitive. I once said to a patient, eggplant might be your comfort food. But if it's causing you to lose sleep, lose balance, or lose independence, then it's no longer a comfort. It's a cost. As we grow older, we must remember, every meal should nourish, not irritate. Every vegetable should support, not sabotage, and every step should be firm, not fearful. If broccoli is armor, then for some, eggplant is the silent crack in that armor. Backhand index pointing down up next, a vegetable that looks harmless and fresh, but may be quietly attacking your gut health and balance, especially if you eat it raw or too often. Backhand index pointing right coming up, vegetable to avoid number 2, green bell pepper. Vegetable to avoid number 2, green bell pepper, the green mistake hiding in your salad. Let me tell you about Luis, a 69-year-old retired biology professor who prided himself on eating clean and healthy. He came into my clinic with an unusual mix of symptoms: tingling in his toes, feeling unsteady when getting out of bed, strange bloating and stomach discomfort after meals. He looked me in the eye and said, "Doctor, I eat a green bell pepper every day. I love the crunch, the freshness. I thought I was doing everything right. But sometimes, what seems like the healthiest habit can quietly chip away at your well-being, especially after 60. DNA green bell peppers and lectins, a gut-wrecking combination. Green bell peppers are part of the nightshade family, just like eggplants, tomatoes, and white potatoes. They also contain lectins, a type of plant protein that can wreak havoc in aging digestive systems. Here's the issue: lectins can bind to your gut lining, they irritate and inflame the intestinal wall. This leads to what we call low-grade chronic inflammation, the kind that doesn't scream, but slowly damages over time. Books according to the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2018. Undigested lectins can trigger the immune system to produce inflammatory markers like CRP and TNF-alpha, which contribute to fatigue, joint pain, and poor circulation, and these effects are amplified in older adults because the gut barrier is thinner, the immune system is more reactive, blood vessels are more vulnerable, weak legs, numb toes, unsteady mornings. If you've ever woken up feeling wobbly on your feet, or felt a strange numbness in your toes while walking, green bell peppers might be part of the problem. Lectins can inflame tiny blood vessels in your feet and legs, interrupt nerve signaling from brain to limbs, reduce blood flow to extremities. Face without mouth the truth behind the color green. People think green means healthy. But in this case, green means immature. Green bell peppers are harvested before they're fully ripe. Compared to red, yellow, or orange peppers, they contain more lectins, have fewer antioxidants, provide less vitamin A and lycopene. In other words, a green bell pepper looks fresh, but it hasn't matured enough to give your body what it really needs. Brain fog, sleep issues, and hidden inflammation. Some of my patients who ate green bell peppers daily reported restless sleep, trouble focusing, mild anxiety, or a sense of being mentally off. These symptoms are subtle, but very real. And when we remove the culprit from their diet, many say, it's like the fog lifted. I feel clearer, calmer. That's not a coincidence. Chronic gut inflammation from lectins can trigger neuroinflammation, especially in aging brains where protective barriers are thinning. Warning: should you avoid green bell peppers, you should reconsider daily intake if you have digestive issues, bloating, IBS, gut sensitivity, experience tingling or weakness in your feet or hands, are on blood pressure medication or blood thinners, often feel mentally foggy, anxious, or low in energy. White heavy checkmark. Better choices than green bell peppers. If you still love the crunch and sweetness, try red, orange, or yellow bell peppers, ripened, lower in lectins. Zucchini, light, anti-inflammatory, and gentle on digestion. Broccoli or kale, packed with antioxidants and brain protective nutrients. Speech balloon. A color that didn't mean what he thought. When I explained this to Luis, he sat silently for a moment. Then he looked at me and said, "I thought I was doing everything right. And I still felt worse." I smiled and gently replied, "Sometimes the foods we trust the most are the ones our bodies outgrow. And it's never too late to course correct, especially when it helps you walk steadier, think clearer, and live fuller." Backhand index pointing down up next, a vegetable you likely grew up with, served at family dinners and comfort meals, but one that may be silently stiffening your blood vessels and slowing your brain. Backhand index pointing right. Coming next, vegetable to avoid. Number 3, white potatoes. Vegetable to avoid. Number 3, white potato, a comfort food that steals your years. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever felt unusually tired after lunch? Do you find yourself sleepy, foggy, or needing to sit down just to gather your thoughts? That's exactly what Harold, a 72-year-old widower, told me during his visit. He said, "Doc, I'm not sick, but I feel drained. My legs are weaker than last year, my vision's fuzzy sometimes, and I just don't feel sharp anymore." When I asked about his eating habits, he shared, "I eat white potatoes nearly every day, mashed with butter, baked, or pan-fried with a little oil." I gently looked at him and said, "Harold, sometimes it's not about how much we eat, but what we choose to eat as our body ages." White potatoes, high in starch, low in nutrients. White potatoes might feel comforting, but they're mostly fast carbs with very little fiber or protective nutrients. They have a high glycemic index, GI 85 to 111, meaning they spike blood sugar rapidly, very little antioxidants compared to carrots or sweet potatoes, minimal fiber, unless eaten with the skin, and even then, it's not much. That rapid blood sugar spike. It might not matter when you're 25, but after 60, it begins a cascade of inflammation that damages your brain, your nerves, and your blood vessels. Books. According to the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2016, eating white potatoes several times a week increased the risk of type 2 diabetes by 33%. Brain fog. Memory lapses after a potato-filled meal. I've heard it from dozens of patients. I get sleepy in the afternoon. I forget where I put things. I feel like my brain is slowing down. This isn't aging, it's glucose overload. After a starchy meal like mashed potatoes, blood sugar rises fast, then crashes. This causes a temporary drop in blood flow to the brain, what I call a silent blackout. It's not a stroke, but over time, these dips wear down your sharpness. Open Book. Harvard School of Public Health tracked 84,555 women over 20 years and found, swapping just one weekly serving of potatoes for whole grains reduced diabetes risk by 14%. Drop of blood. White potatoes and your blood vessels, a silent attack. After 60, the smallest blood vessels, in the brain, eyes, and feet, become more vulnerable. White potatoes worsen this because they trigger glycation, where sugar binds to proteins and stiffens arteries, elevate inflammation, damaging vessel walls, contribute to insulin resistance, slowing circulation. Pushpin Diabetes Care, 2014, published, people with wide post-meal glucose swings had a 45% higher risk of small blood vessel disease. This isn't just about diabetes. It's about protecting the tiny roads that carry life to your brain and limbs. Do you feel cold feet at night, tingling or numb toes, wobbly steps, even on flat ground? This could be neuropathy caused by poor circulation and sugar damage, not age, and white potatoes can accelerate it. When paired with butter, cheese, oil, or salt, as many dishes are, the effects multiply. Saturated fat. Salt equals higher blood pressure. Reheated oil equals acrylamide, a compound that damages nerves. Cream or gravy equals more sugar, more stress on your system. Books. British Medical Journal, 2017, eating fried potatoes 2 times per week was linked to a 33% higher mortality rate. Who should rethink white potatoes? You should cut back or avoid them if you are over 60, have prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, experience leg weakness, foot tingling, or balance issues, have family history of dementia or memory loss. Instead of white potatoes, try sweet potatoes, lower GI, rich in beta-carotene, fiber. Carrots, steamed or roasted, support vision and nervous system. Mashed pumpkin or butternut squash, creamy, sweet, and much lighter on blood sugar. They're not only safer, they're actually delicious. Many of my patients come back saying, I didn't know healthy could taste this good. When I asked Harold why he loved potatoes so much, he smiled softly, because every time I eat them. I remember Sunday dinners with my wife. It was her favorite side dish. I nodded and said gently, memories like that should be cherished. But your health today, your future tomorrow, deserves just as much love. Backhand index pointing down, and now, we come to the final food in this list, a vegetable that looks harmless, even healthy, but beneath its golden sweetness lies a trap that can cloud your brain, weaken your legs, and quietly chip away at your independence. Backhand index pointing right up next, vegetable to avoid number 4, corn. Vegetable to avoid number 4, corn, the sweet lie for an aging body. I remember Margaret, a 67-year-old retired vegetarian chef. She walked into my office one morning and said with a gentle smile, "Doc, I don't eat meat, I don't drink, I live clean, but lately it feels like my body is giving up, my mind's cloudy, I lose my balance easily, and my legs feel tired even before I start walking." We talked through her habits. Turns out, every day she had corn, grilled corn, corn porridge, cornmeal muffins, even plain popcorn every night as a snack. I looked her in the eye and gently said, "Margaret, corn may feel like a vegetable, but for the aging body, it acts more like a dessert in disguise." Let's get one thing clear, corn is not a leafy vegetable. It's a starchy grain, high in fast carbs and low in fiber. Here's what that means for people over 60, glycemic index, 60 to 70, raises blood sugar quickly, low fiber, spikes insulin without slowing digestion, minimal micronutrients compared to real vegetables. Pushpin, the Journal of Nutrition, 2019, published. Regular corn consumers had a 28% higher risk of insulin resistance and chronic inflammation compared to those who ate whole grains. I told Margaret, the danger in corn isn't just its sugar, it's that it makes you feel like you're eating healthy, while your brain pays the price. Here's what I've seen: seniors who eat corn regularly often feel foggy, struggle with delayed thinking and poor balance, experience brain fatigue after meals. Microscope why? Because when blood sugar rises too quickly, it restricts blood flow to the brain, even for just a moment. Over time, this leads to reduced cognitive sharpness, poor memory formation, slower reflexes. Open Book Neuroscience Letters, 2020, reported, chronic insulin spikes are directly linked to shrinkage in the hippocampus, the memory center of the brain. After 60, what keeps you independent is balance and leg strength, but corn can sabotage that silently by promoting fat around your belly, which fuels inflammation, irritating nerve endings, leading to tingling or numbness, triggering small vessel inflammation, making your feet cold, your steps shaky. Books Diabetes Metabolic Syndrome, 2017, study showed seniors with prediabetes who ate corn frequently were 2.4 times more likely to develop peripheral neuropathy. Test tube The Hidden Danger, GMO. Corn and glyphosate. In the U.S., over 90% of corn is genetically modified, GMO. It's often treated with heavy doses of a pesticide called glyphosate, a chemical now linked to gut lining damage, leading to leaky gut. Chronic inflammation, hormonal imbalance in thyroid and pancreas, neurological damage in sensitive populations. Pushpin Environmental Health Perspectives, 2020, published. Individuals with high glyphosate levels had 31% higher rates of nerve inflammation and poor immune response. Warning: who should be cautious with corn: anyone over 60 with prediabetes or diabetes, numbness or weakness in feet, balance issues or falls, digestive issues or autoimmune flare-ups. White heavy checkmark: smarter swaps that still taste like comfort. If you love the taste and feel of corn, try these instead. Steel-cut oats, support heart health, stabilize blood sugar. Steamed sweet potatoes, rich in beta-carotene and fiber. Quinoa or millet, plant proteins that protect brain and muscle. They nourish without spiking your blood sugar or harming your nerves. Margaret looked at me, teary-eyed, and said, "I love corn. It reminds me of my childhood, family picnics, summer laughter. But I don't want to keep living in the past if it means I can't walk into the future. I gently held her hand and told her, then let's honor the past, but let's eat for the future, because every strong step you take tomorrow depends on what you put on your plate today. Backhand index pointing down, and now you know, the 4 vegetables that nourish life after 60, and the 4 that quietly chip away at your independence, memory, and strength. Receipt counterclockwise arrows button summary table, 4 vegetables to embrace, 4 vegetables to avoid after 60, white heavy checkmark vegetables to eat prohibited vegetables to avoid, broccoli supports circulation, brain health, and joint mobility eggplant, triggers inflammation and weakens nerves, contains solanine, leafy green spinach, boosts memory, blood flow, and muscle strength hot pepper green bell pepper, high in lectins, may harm gut and nerves, carrots, sharpens vision, strengthens nerves, stabilizes blood sugar white potatoes, spike blood sugar, damage small blood vessels, leafy green kale, anti-aging, supports brain, nerves, and microcirculation ear of corn, hidden sugars, GMOs, weakens memory and balance. Dear friend, at age 60, 70, or beyond, we no longer crave fancy food. Or fast food. Or food that simply fills us. What we need is food that heals, because every step we take now feels heavier, every time we forget where we left the keys, or miss a name we used to cherish. It's not just memory. It's our body whispering for help, but here's the truth, growing older doesn't have to mean growing weaker, it doesn't mean you have to settle for pain, forgetfulness, or depending on others. No, not at all. You can't rewind time, but you can choose today to live your next 20 years stronger, clearer, more alive, and it all starts with what you place on your plate. Let your meals be an act of love, a gift to your future self. Because you deserve a life that stays independent, a mind that remains sharp, a body that still dances with joy, even in its wrinkles. You deserve to be the grandparent who bends down to hug their grandchild, the neighbor who still walks to the mailbox without fear, the friend who remembers every story, every face, every moment. And yes, it starts with vegetables, but only the right ones. Broccoli, leafy green, carrot, choose wisely. Eat purposefully. Live powerfully. Clapperboard, if this video helped you in any way, please tap the like button, so I know you're here, walking this path with me. Left speech bubble, leave a comment below. Which of these vegetables do you eat most often, and is there something you might change after today? Backhand index pointing right, and don't forget to subscribe, so each week, we can uncover the small, simple truths that help you feel stronger, live longer, and love this season of life, even after 60.